Once upon a time, in a land filled with beauty and wonder, there was a giant who lived in a magnificent garden. This was no ordinary garden. It was a lush, peaceful haven, one that sparkled with flowers, sweet fruit, and the joyful sound of children playing. But the giant didn't see its true value, for he was a very selfish giant. Every afternoon, as the children left school, they ran to the giant's garden to play. They ran on soft green grass, admired the colorful flowers, and listened to birds singing in the trees. "How happy we are here," they would cry. But everything changed one day when the giant returned from a long visit to his friend, the Cornish ogre. The giant was furious. "What are you doing in my garden?" he roared. The children ran away, frightened by his loud voice. The giant thought, "This is my garden, and I don't want anyone to play here." So he built a high wall around it and posted a sign, "Trespassers will be prosecuted." From then on, the poor children had nowhere to play. The road was dusty and full of stones, and they missed the beauty of the garden. The giant, however, felt pleased with himself. But what he didn't know was that, as he closed the garden off, he also shut out the joy of spring. While spring arrived everywhere else, the giant's garden remained trapped in a never-ending winter. The snow, the frost, and the north wind ruled over it. The birds wouldn't sing, and the trees didn't blossom. It was a sad and lonely place. Then one day, the giant heard a sweet melody outside his window. He thought it was the king's musicians, but when he looked, he saw it was just a little linnet singing on a branch. And for the first time in many years, he realized the garden felt empty without the children. "I believe the spring has come at last," the giant said as he jumped from his bed and ran outside. What he saw brought tears to his eyes. Through a small hole in the wall, the children had sneaked in, and the trees were blossoming once again, covered in flowers and leaves. The birds were singing, and the flowers were laughing in the sun. It was beautiful. But there was one problem. A little boy stood in the farthest corner of the garden, unable to climb the tree, and the snow and frost still clung to that part of the garden. The giant's heart melted as he realized what he had done. "How selfish I have been," he cried. "I'll knock down the wall and make this garden a playground for the children forever." The giant carefully picked up the little boy and set him on the tree. And as soon as the boy touched the branches, the tree bloomed into beautiful blossoms. The birds flew about, singing with joy. And so the garden became a magical place once more, full of laughter and love. The giant promised the children they could play there whenever they wanted, and he knocked down the wall. Years passed, and the giant grew older. He couldn't play with the children anymore, but he still loved to watch them in his beautiful garden. One day, as he looked out the window, he saw the little boy from long ago. But this time, the child wasn't just a boy. He had something more. The giant ran to the child. "Who hath dared to wound thee?" he asked, seeing the marks of nails on the boy's hands and feet. "Nay," said the child, smiling sweetly. "These are the wounds of love." And in that moment, the giant knew he was standing before someone truly special. The little boy said, "You let me play in your garden once. Now I will take you to mine. It is paradise." And when the children came to the garden the next day, they found the giant lying dead under the tree, all covered in white blossoms. But they knew he was happy now, for he had found the true meaning of love. The selfish giant learned that love and kindness bring the warmth of spring, even in the coldest of places. And in the end, his garden was the most beautiful it had ever been, full of joy, compassion, and the spirit of love. If you enjoyed this touching tale of transformation, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with others who would love to hear this beautiful story. Comment below and tell us what you think about the selfish giant's journey.